Hi there, this is Jonathan Ginsberg, and today I'd like to talk to you about work attempts prior to and after a finding of disability. I get a lot of questions about this topic. People write me all the time asking how much they can work, or is it possible to work after they're found disabled. Basically, let me start by telling you that when you get in front of a judge, what the judge is trying to figure out is whether or not you are engaged in what is called substantial gainful activity. And if you are engaged in substantial activity, then you are not considered disabled because you're able to work. So Social Security defines substantial gainful activity essentially as full-time work. It could be school, it could be volunteer work, but it's something equivalent to full-time work. And it's not your past work. This is really anything at all. So I always tell people to imagine they're taking a job where they're taking small items, something like office supplies, and packing them in a box. They're inspecting textiles. So really I call it a warm body job. If you can do anything at all, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that is considered substantial gainful activity. So basically the way it works is if you are working part-time, and I believe that the number is $1,000 a month. So if you're earning $1,000 a month or more gross, that is automatically considered substantial gainful activity. This is before a finding of disability. So in theory, and this is again in theory, if you are working and earning $900 a month, you are not performing substantial gainful activity, therefore you could in theory be found disabled. And I've actually had that happen a couple of times where somebody is working and earning $500 or $600 a month part-time, and the judge approved their case because they were not doing substantial work. But that's pretty rare, and especially in difficult economic times where Social Security judges, I think, are being told to be very, very careful in scrutinizing cases. If you're earning $900 a month, the judge is likely to think, well, if this person can do job A here and earn $900 a month, what's to say he couldn't do job B and earn $1,100 a month? So generally what I find is that judges will decide that if you're working part-time doing something, that you could probably work full-time and do something a little bit easier. Again, that's not the way, maybe it should be, but that's just the way it is. So when people say to me when they retain me, should I try to go to work, will that hurt me? My answer is going to be this, and that is I would never tell you not to try to work, because I think it's important. If you can work, you'll be happier. I think you'll make more money. But realize that if you do work, it's going to hurt your case. And with one caveat, there is something in Social Security called an unsuccessful work attempt, and that would be a work attempt where you are able to stay at a job for less than 3 months. That usually helps. When I'm in a hearing and somebody has an unsuccessful work attempt, or 2 or 3, basically I use that to argue that my client is trying to work but just can't do so. So an unsuccessful work attempt or 2 is not going to hurt you, but if you're working 6 months, 7 months, 5 months, something like that, that's going to look more like a return to work. And even if you're earning less than $1,000 a month, I think that most judges are still going to find that that is equivalent to substantial work, and they're going to hold it against you. And I realize also the way Social Security defines disability, and that is that you have to be unable to perform the substantial activity for 12 consecutive months. So again, sometimes when you're deciding if you're going to try to work, if you have a decision and you can choose to try to go back to work on month 11 after being out for 11 months, that is less desirable than trying to go back after month 14. Because if you go back after month 14 and it turns out that you can go back to work, you at least have this closed period of 11 or 12, 13, 14 months. Because again, you've got to be out of work for at least 12 consecutive months. And again, consecutive months, not a month here, a month there. It's got to be 12 consecutive months that you're not able to do substantial work. So again, my experience has been that if you are working part-time prior to a finding of disability and it's more than 3 months, that is likely going to be hurt. It's going to hurt you. It's going to be held against you, and it would make a judge less likely to find you disabled ongoing. And again, you can still do a closed period, and sometimes that's the appropriate thing to do. And in fact, judges typically will find closed period cases, they'll be more inclined to grant those because they're not approving ongoing disability. And getting a lump sum of $7,500, let's say, not a bad thing. But again, if you feel like you have an ongoing problem and you're trying to go back to work and it's incredibly painful and so forth, being brave in this case will hurt you. Now, after you're found disabled, I think the whole scenario kind of changes. And after you're found disabled, Social Security is looking to try to encourage you to go back to work, and they want to make it easy for you. So they have, among other things, a number of programs, one of which is called a trial work period program. And that is that you can go back to work, you can earn anything, as much as you want, you can earn $10,000 a month, and for up to 9 months, in any 5-year period of time, you will be able to earn what you earn, plus get your regular full ongoing disability benefit for that during that 9-month period of time. And you will still get your full benefit. After 9 months, then they will eliminate or reduce your disability benefit, generally eliminate it, and you go into something called an extended period of disability, which is beyond the scope of this video, but you can try to work for up to 9 months. And again, after finding of disability, you work a month here, 3 months later you work a month there, and you can do up to 9 of these and still get your ongoing benefits. So again, if you earn, and the amount, by the way, for 2011 at least, and all these figures are for 2011, is $720. I'm sorry, $720. That's right, $720 a month. So if you earn more than $720 in a particular month, that counts as a trial work period month. If you earn less than $720, it doesn't count. So in theory, you could have a part-time job, earn $699 a month indefinitely. It would never count as a trial work period of month. You would still get your full disability benefit, plus you'd earn your $720 or $719, let's say, and you'd be able to work indefinitely and do that. Now, in theory, Social Security would, after they saw somebody's earnings of, let's say, $700 a month, $695, something like that, if they saw that for a while, 5, 6, 7, 10 months, they might do what is called a continuing disability review, and then review your case to see whether or not, in fact, your condition had improved, so that you could go back to work and cut you off. But as a practical matter, Social Security is so strapped for money, they don't have the personnel to do these continuing disability reviews, and so I almost never see them. So again, clients of mine who've been found disabled by a judge, they're getting their full benefit, and then they go back to work, and they're working part-time, and again, they don't cross this threshold, they don't cross the $720 threshold, or whatever the number is for the year that is involved, and that's on the SSA website. They can continue to work part-time, get their full benefit, and just continue to do so indefinitely. And again, until Social Security starts doing more of these continuing reviews, I think that's the way it's likely to be. So the same person, before a finding of disability, can earn $700 a month. Before finding of disability, it's a problem. After a finding of disability, it doesn't really affect them at all. Doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. It doesn't seem fair. It seems like you're being punished if you try to work before you're found disabled, and you're fighting it. You think that they would encourage that behavior, but they don't. And that's just unfortunately the way it is. So I hope that answers the questions, and realize that the figures I'm giving you, the $1,000 a month for substantial activity and the $720 a month for the trial work period, those figures, they change yearly. They haven't changed for 2010 or 2011, but they'll likely change for 2012, 2013. So if you're watching this video in those years, you need to check the Social Security website to find out what is substantial gainful activity for a particular year, and what is the amount for a trial work period, and see what that says. And for years in the past, of course, the numbers are a little bit different, but that's kind of the range. But that's sort of the way it works in terms of pre-hearing or pre-finding of disability trial work, and then post-disability trial work. What does that mean? Again, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but again, I'm not in charge of this system, so you need to know how it works and as a practical matter, at least the way it's operating at this particular point in time. So this is Jonathan Ginsberg. I hope this has been helpful in helping you understand what it means to work both before a finding of disability and after a finding of disability. We'll talk to you soon.